The Life and Sad Ending of Toby Keith. Toby Keith was born Toby Keith Covel on July 8, 1961, in Clinton, Oklahoma, U.S. It is often said, choice over effort. That is obviously true. These steps will be reminiscent of Toby Keith's old decisions. After graduating from Moore High School, Toby did not go on to college, but went to work in the Oklahoman oil fields with his father. He later met and married Tricia Lucas, whose child, Shelley Reeve, he adopted. He later had 2 children with Tricia, Crystal, and Stephen. Childhood is associated with trouble and financial difficulties. At the time which Crystal was born, the Oklahoma oil industry had collapsed. While the bruising politics of the era certainly left their mark, it's this question of musical identity that made Keith rise to those dizzying heights at the turn of the century, and it's what eventually brought him crashing down to where he is now. Keith famously ran into a wall of rejection when he first arrived in Nashville. Touring with his band the Easy Money Band, Toby got them all out of debt. After signing a deal at Mercury Records, his debut album Toby Keith, which contained his first chart topper, Should Have Been a Cowboy, finally established him as a professional singer-songwriter. He then left Mercury for a period of 3 years. Coming back in 1997, he released his final studio album for Mercury, Dream Walkin'. A year after his first Greatest Hits compilation came out from Mercury, he and his producer, James Stroud, left the label. He then signed a deal with DreamWorks Records, headed by his producer. Since releasing his 5th album, How Do You Like Me Now, and its title track, the then DreamWorks, now Showdog Tunes signed singer and BMI-affiliated songwriter has seen success like never before. That success can be measured with at least 5 more studio albums since How Do You Like Me Now, more than 1 singles, Academy of Country Music Awards, and other kinds of awards, and another Greatest Hits compilation. Started his own band, the Easy Money Band, and played in honky-tonks all across America before making it big. His first single, I Should Have Been a Cowboy, was named by Billboard magazine the most played country song of the 1990s. His top 1 single As Good As I Once Was is his second fastest rising top 1 since The Angry American, and the fastest since Tim McGraw's Live Like You Were Dying. His latest album, Honky Tonk University, has been certified platinum in just a few weeks. Celebrated his 21st top 1 country single with As Good As I Once Was, his 10th top 1 in only 5 years, with a total of 38 weeks combined at the top of the country charts with his hits. Opened a restaurant in Oklahoma City, called the I Love This Bar and Grill, with locations in Kansas City and Las Vegas planned. Opened his own label, Show Dog Records, with his new album, White Trash, with Money being the first album released by the label. He will also release the soundtrack to his movie Broken Bridges on Show Dog Records. 3 more top 5 hits followed, and his self-titled debut disc was certified platinum the very next year. It's the sort of success that a label would die for, so obviously, Mercury bumped Keith to their list and made him the face of their label, right? Well, no. In fact, not only did Mercury not prioritize Keith, they dumped him onto Polydor Records when it spun off from Mercury in 1994. Polydor's Nashville branch was then briefly rebranded as A&M Nashville in 1996, and then closed later that year, just 5 months after Keith's 3rd album was released, which shuffled Keith back under Mercury's roof. Put it all together, and it wasn't until Keith's 5th and 6th discs that he officially recorded consecutive country albums on the same label. AllMusic reports that Keith left Mercury over frustration over record promotion, and after looking over his story, it's hard to blame him. His daughter is country singer-songwriter Crystal Keith Covel Sandubre. Born Crystal LaDawn Covel in 1986, she married Andrew Sandubre on October 23, 2010. He also has a son, Toby Keith Covel, and an adopted daughter, Shelley Covel Rowland. Shooting Beer for My Horses, a movie based on his 2003 #1 smash hit duet with Willie Nelson, starring himself and Rodney Carrington, both co-writers of the film. Filming Broken Bridges in Atlanta, with Kelly Preston and Burt Reynolds. Set to release a new album, White Trash with Money, in April. Released his 10th studio album, Honky Tonk University, on May 17, 2005, and is currently on tour. The New York Times Magazine listed Toby Keith among hundreds of artists whose material was reportedly destroyed in the 2008 Universal Studios fire. Perform at President-elect Donald Trump's 2016 inauguration. Typical quotes of him: "Here's the thing. Just because you're pro-troops doesn't mean you're pro-war. And just because you're anti-war doesn't mean you're anti-troops. Just because you don't support the war people think you are anti-troops and you are a bad guy. And just because you go support the troops and rah-rah the troops up all of a sudden you're pro-war. Those are the two biggest misconceptions of the whole thing. I always vote for the guy the first think can get it done. And it ain't nobody's business who I vote for, but I voted for Clinton twice. And that just blows people's minds when they hear that." Overall, the singer-songwriter has released 19 studio albums, 2 Christmas albums, and 5 compilation albums. He has also charted 61 singles on the Billboard Hot Country Songs charts and has sold more than 40 million albums worldwide. Despite his seemingly tough exterior, Keith is a teddy bear when it comes to Trisha. Most people think he is just the most romantic person on the planet, she admitted to People. He has his moments of charm. It is nice to get a bouquet of flowers, but I've told him, save the money. Roses die in 5 to 7 days. Buy me an outfit, or take me to dinner. With the encouragement of Trisha, Keith's total career earnings are estimated at $500 million. The couple is certainly living the high life, but the pair value their 3 children and grandchildren above all. All of us, guys, will all have a hard time on the road. All we have to do is face them and get the results. Anyway, this life is still more favored for sadness. Let's fight them, and everything will become complete. 2 happy words. Toby Keith is 59 years old this year. I always follow him like a fan veteran. Our title is not meant to offend you. Everything is a person enjoying a cup of tea with a piece of melodious sleep music.